Hello and welcome back to my radio workshop. Today on the bench I have a Hacker Hunter RP38A. It's come in an absolutely shocking state. However, I've tested the amp and the amp checks out fine. I will end up recapping it anyway, just as a little bit of housekeeping. But the issue I've got with it is I've got intermittent power. I've tried it with mains and batteries and I'm still getting intermittent power. Now I've had one of these before and it was a number of years ago, and I believe that it's the power jack plug inside the set, which is this here. They become tarnished inside. I don't know if you can see on the ends there's lots of green. So what I do with these is take them apart and give them a clean with a fiberglass pencil. It's just to push down on the ends and then you can withdraw the pin. Just remembering which slot that they go in, because I've actually got it wrong. As I say, it was a couple of years ago I got this and I wired it up the wrong way and it didn't end well. So there we go, there's the two ends, and as I say, it's a fiberglass pencil and to bend in the contacts on the end, because sometimes they seem to lose their spring, but you can see it's the negative one here that's the most corroded. Fiberglass pencils, they're brilliant things, but they're also particularly nasty. You get some of these fibres in your fingers and you know about it for a week. Usually I put gloves on, however, because this is such a small job to do with the pencil. Yeah, nice and shiny again now. I'm not going to bother with the gloves. That's famous last words. I'm going to be smarting for about a week now. However, for hoovering up the remnants of the fiberglass which are on the edge of the case here, if you use a microfiber, either cloth or sponge, it attracts the remnants quite easily. So I'm just going to gently, tentatively bend in that contact, just so it, because it's only a small pin on the power jack that goes in there. I can't feel much resistance there yet, so I need to bend it in a little bit further. A few years since I've done a RP38, but this one has come in such a state, it did make me wonder whether it would be worth doing. You know, cosmetically it's terrible. But I believe that once I've done this with the power jack, it should spark up into life. Let's just make sure that I'm switched off before I put the power jack back in. So there we are. Yeah, the testing I've done on the amp checks out fine. The caps are all within, apart from one that shows us leaky in circuit. But the usual suspects are absolutely fine. I will recap it, maybe a little later in this video, maybe a little later this week. But let's just have a quick test. Still nothing. Can hear it, but really quietly. That could be a dodgy volume pop.
Well, that's Apple on the street where you live from the film My Fair Lady, not composed by Andre Previn, but
cleaner inside there. somewhere with a nozzle.
Did all those days, yes.
It's gone again. Is that the volume pot, or is it the amp?
About 8 years with them, and I was very lucky that I was with him on all the tours.
So one Christmas as a little boy, I was excited as they would have been it. Isn't that amazing? And I still...
Headphone socket. Some switch cleaner inside there. Dare say I'll be taking that to pieces as well.
To have a musician of Andre Previn's calibre, and you know, obviously a very confident, brilliant guy, you know, to go on the Christmas shows that Eric and Ernie did, I just thought it was a wonderful thing, you know, and there was also...
So I hit the 9th of the set. Thou only dear one, but for...
Does have the nice sounding ELAC speaker in here. It's very rusty though. I'm gonna have to take that out. Everything's gonna have to come out of this case. So that is just the first look at the Hacker Hunter. Show you the dial plate. Let's move this around. And the aerial's missing. What a surprise. A few marks on the dial plate, but I think those are surface and will polish off. The chrome edges, they will polish up. They do feel quite rough. I don't know whether a lot of that is scratches, but I'll get that cleaned up the very best that I can. Inside, like I say, we've got the ELAC speaker, but there's loads of rust and loads of debris inside the bottom of the speaker down here. There's the jack plug that I was messing around with, and the headphone socket on the side. I'm just going to pause a moment. I'm going to pop the radio back together, just temporarily, just to see how we're faring with operation. I'll be right back, and then I can show you the actual state, the cosmetic state of the radio itself. Catch you shortly. Hello, welcome back. I've just put it back into the case for now, just so I can tell what she's like. She is in a bit of a state. If you can see the ends and the grill, there's lots of damage on there. I don't know whether I can iron all of that out, but I'm going to give it a go. Oh, and talking about ironing, metal grills, I use an old flat iron. Heat up an old flat iron next to our fire and use the flat iron to put some heat onto the grill. Obviously, well, not fitted to the radio, just want to make that absolutely clear. Take the grill off, put it onto a flat surface. I've got another one of these cutting mats, and use a flat iron or a dry iron to heat it up, and then like I've seen Graham do previously on his channel, Radio Cruncher, use panel beating tools to iron them out as best we can. I have done that myself once before, but I didn't have as much success as Graham did. Graham had a particularly bad crease on one of these, and he did really well at getting that out. I've never had that much success, but I have made them look, you know, a heck of a lot better than that. but nevertheless, I'm pleased to say she lives.
Owen Morford's Threnody for the Passing of Branwen. Adrian Partington conducted the BBC National Orchestra of Wales, who are now joined by tenor Joshua Mills to sing Richard Samuel Hughes' Aravadon. Hughes was known as the Welsh Schubert in the second half of the 19th century.
We've got Tim Smith and Bobby Pryor and Catherine Cracknell and Nick Hatton with the sport. The oldies chosen by Dave. Right, Dave.
You have to live with that on your conscience forever.
Go on to medium wave.
We're refreshing and reshaping the way we do mortgages to make them easier.
He knows that, I mean, Real Madrid have said to him that slow player revenge movie, but it managed.
Going long wave.
Nothing trite, a genuine quandary. Then open on a random page.
Nine and 3/4 today. He's only had nine birthdays.
So there we go. It's just my initial look at it. Obviously I've powered it up when it arrived and there was nothing. I suspected the amp. I tested the amp. That seemed to check out okay. I refitted it and checked the jack plug behind the power switch, and the jack plug was a little bit corroded, so I've taken that apart, cleaned it with a fiberglass pencil, put it back in. That did improve things, however it kept cutting out, and that was down to the very infamous headphone socket. There must have been years of build-up of this and that and the other, probably 10-20 people's worth of DNA and skin and there. Anyway, cleaned all of that out. I've remade the resistor contact on the back of that because it was probably dry joint. It was cracked, intermittent. I remade that and it now powers up. So now I've got the unenviable task of trying to make this look semi-beautiful again. I'm pretty sure I can do it. It has got a handle and the handle's okay, the handle's intact, and it's got the end caps. and the dial plate should just polish up okay. Just a bit concerned about these, they're quite pitted, but I'll see what magic I can work on those as well. Things like this, you know, the switch tops, whatever adhesive was used at the factory is kind of worn off now, and clean up the other switch tops. Needs a new aerial. Graham gave me a link for some 10 section aerials from China, so I'll get some of those ordered. I'll probably order 5 or 10 so that I've got plenty in, because ordering from China, I'm guessing that they're going to take 6 or 8 weeks to arrive. They are cheap as chips, but obviously it won't be finished until I've got an aerial in there. So you're going to see this in a couple more videos up and coming as I do different things. I'm going to strip everything out of the case, take absolutely everything off it, and give it a good rub down and good sand, and then buff up with T-coil or Danish, probably Danish. The covering's okay, the knobs will polish up. It's just a case of making. I'm quite pleased that this is still here as well. A little bit loose, but that'll glue back on. I'll actually take that off actually, just to clean all this ingrained dirt off the back of here. Needs some feet on the bottom, but yeah, that's about it. So scruffy as hell, but the best thing about it is it works, and the second best thing about it is it cost me a tenner. Happy days. Thanks very much guys, I'll catch you in the next one. See you soon.